So far I have made 4 off-road capability testing videos, and in none of them I have ever properly explained what each test is, how it's judged, and more importantly, how it tests the vehicles. This video is long overdue, and since a few days ago I remade some of the tests and added in some new ones that you guys have never seen before, I decided it's the best time to make this video. In all other off-road capability videos, there will be multiple vehicles, but in this one, since I'm showing you the tests, it's just me and my surgeon. The first test I do is the approach and departure test. This measures the approach and departure angles of the vehicle. The furthest ramp on the left is 5 degrees, then 10 degrees, and so on all the way up to 70 degrees. The higher the value, the more clearance the bumpers have to the ground. All of the numbers will be shown on screen. The car with the highest score wins.
When I get to the bottom, I go back to the top of the slide. Well, I stop and I turn and I go for a ride till I get to the bottom and I see you again. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Do ya, don't you want me to love you? I'm coming down fast, but I'm on the phone, yeah. Tell me, tell me, tell me, come on, tell me the answer. You made me a lover, but you ain't no dancer. Oh, helter skelter, helter skelter, helter skelter.
Next up is water testing. This tests the car's water capability. To be good at this test, the vehicles need to have good torque and power, and most importantly, weight. The heavier the car is, the easier it can push through the water. The vehicles will drive through 3 different sections through this small lake. The one that makes it through the most or furthest wins.
If everybody had an ocean across the USA, then everybody'd be served like California. You see them wearing their baggies, Warachi sandals too, a bushy, bushy blonde hairdo, surfing USA. You'll catch them surfing at Nell, Ventura County line, Santa Cruz and Twin, Australia, Caribbean, all over and down Bohemian Way. Everybody's gone surfing USA. We'll all be planning out a route we're gonna take real soon. We're waxing down our surfboard, we can't wait for June. We'll all be gone for the summer, we're on safari to stay. Tell the teacher we're surfing USA. And hang your knees and walk Pacific Palisades, San Onofre Sun.
I'm fast as fuck, boy. I don't think you have any idea how fast I really am. I'm fast as fuck, boy.
Next up is the breakover test. This tests how much ground clearance each vehicle has and how that compares to the wheelbase. For the best results, you want a vehicle with a lot of clearance and a short wheelbase. The one that scrapes the least over this course gets the most points. On a couple of occasions, you can see that the vehicle is grounding out without any wheel spin. Take this clip of the Taurus for example. The reason I marked this as a scrape was because of the lift in the suspension. On the crest, the suspension was fully compressed, but as we reverse down you can see the suspension lift a lot more than it's supposed to.
When the work's all done and the sunset low, pull out the fiddle and the rosin up the bow. Kids are asleep, so I keep a catalog, and thank God I'm a country boy. I'd play Sally Gooden all day if I could, but the Lord and my wife wouldn't take it very good. So I fiddle when I can, work when I should, and thank God I'm a country boy. Well, I got me a fine wife, I got me old fiddle. When the sun's coming up, I got cakes on the griddle. Life ain't nothing but a funny, funny riddle. Thank God I'm a country boy.
I'm fast as fuck, boy. I don't think you have any idea how fast I really am. I'm fast as fuck, boy.
Next up is the suspension travel test. On this test, all vehicles will drive one behind the other very slowly to see how many times the suspension lifts. The less lifts, the better.
How can you see into my eyes like open doors, leading you down into my core, where I become so numb without a soul. My spirit sleeping somewhere cold until you find me there and lead it back home. Wake me up inside. Wake me up inside. Call my name and save me from.
Next up is the drag race. All vehicles will be lined up with their front tyres on the red and white line. A grenade will be thrown into the flying bin, and when the grenade explodes, we go. For every test, we will be using the handbrake launch, so wheel spin is likely. For the first few seconds, the footage will be slowed down to 20%. This shows in more detail which vehicle can launch the best, and also take the piss out of the people with slower reaction times.
But you're doing fine. So stay on track and don't look back. Just feel the pace. Come on now, race.
Everybody supersonic racing. Try to keep your feet right on the ground when you're supersonic racing.
Next up is the braking test. Each vehicle will be stopped just before the yellow block, and with a quick click of reverse, the cars will begin to roll down, without touching the brakes. The vehicle will then hit a brake which will prepare them for the steeper incline, which will give them the same amount of speed. Once the vehicle has hit the green and black line, full emergency stop. The vehicle that stops the first wins.
Stop, children, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going down. There's battle lines being drawn. Nobody's right if everybody's wrong. Young people speaking.
Next up is the axle twister test. In this test, each vehicle will drive up the course relatively slowly and at the same speed. The one that makes it up the furthest wins. A few times we've had a driver change to give the cars as much chance as possible. For a vehicle to be good here, it needs a good amount of torque, suspension travel, traction and a good approach angle, and a very good amount of ground clearance.
So long, boy, you can take my place. Got my papers, I've got my pay. So pack my bags and I'll be on my way to Yellow River, Yellow River. Put my gun down, the war has won. Fill my glass high, the time has come. I'm going back to the place that I love. Yellow River, Yellow River, Yellow River, Yellow River is in my mind and in my eyes. Yellow River is in my blood. It's the place I love. Got no time for explanations, got no time to lose. Tomorrow night you find me sleeping underneath the moon at Yellow River. Cannon fire lingers in my mind. I'm so glad I'm still alive, and I've been gone for such a long time. From Yellow River, Yellow River, I remember the nights were cool. I can still see the water pool, and I remember the girl that I knew at Yellow River, Yellow River, Yellow River, Yellow River.
Next up is the power test. Each vehicle will line up against the bottom red and black block, with their front tyres alongside the top of it. And again using the handbrake launch, go up as far as possible. For a vehicle to be good here, it needs a good amount of BHP, torque and traction.
Well, this is my job. Yeah, on the dog train. when all the brakes have failed and I'm going downhill. And if you see me wave, yeah, I'm only saying bye-bye.
Next up is the incline test. Each vehicle will go up a hill whilst being next to an orange traffic cone. Using the handbrake launch, the vehicle that makes it up the most wins. If there is a case where the vehicles have made it up the same amount of hills, we will retry the final 4 hills with different drivers to see if there is a difference. If there isn't a difference, all of us will chat and come to a conclusion about which we thought handled the best.
Calypso, the places you've been to, the things that you've shown us, the stories you tell. I, Calypso, I sing to your spirit, the men who have served you so long and so well. Oh like the dolphin who guides you, you bring us beside you to light up the darkness and show us the way. For though we are strangers in your silent world, to live on the land we must learn from the sea. To be true as the tide, free as a wind swell, joyful and loving in letting it be. Like Calypso, the places you've been to, things that you've shown us, the stories you tell. Like Calypso, I sing to your spirit, the men who have served you so long and so well. Like Calypso, the places you've been to, the things that you've shown us, the stories you tell. I, Calypso, I sing to your spirit, the men who have served you so long and so well.
The final test is turning circle. Each vehicle will line up alongside the cone at the very left side of the green block, with the front wheels as far back as possible without being on top of the block. Then slowly the car will turn left onto a full lock, and once the rear wheels drop off from the block, the vehicle will turn straight and continue driving until the front wheels hit the other green and white line. The closest to the arrow wins. If there are only 2 vehicles in a test, only the winner will receive a point, whereas if there were multiple, last place would receive 1 point, second to last would receive 2, and so on. The map will now never change, and even if it does, it'll only be things behind the scenes that don't alter with the testing. For example, blimps and changing the colours of certain blocks. Anyway, that was the off-road capability tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next time.